God's not against you. He's not against you. He's for you. Look at this emphasis. Look what he did. And in that next verse, we see it in these same terms. He that kept back spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all. How shall he not with him freely give us all things also? If he gave us the most important thing that can be imagined, the one and only begotten Son of God who did it all right, only spoke the words that the Father gave him, but obeyed him unto death, the most precious thing to exist. What now he's suddenly getting penny pinching on you, being like, oh, well, yeah, I could give you peace, but I already spent a lot, so he's already given us the most important thing. So what does everything else matter compared to that? That's the point. It's like, what is he going to hold back if he already gave you the most important thing? Screw that down in your head.
The next verse, who shall bring any charge against God's elect? Who's going to be that person? The reality is, I'm sure that plenty of people will try. But again, what does it matter? They have no real authority in the judgment. They are no more righteous than God.
Right. And look at that emphasis in the second part of that verse. Who shall lay anything to the charge of God's chosen? God that justifies? You can't do it with a period. It's a rhetorical question.
You're saying it reads in English as if it's a statement. The person who's going to do it is God, who justifies.
Right. So who's going to bring a charge against the ones God chose and made justified? God that justified. Well, he already did it. Read it like this. Who shall bring any charge? Who shall bring any accusation against God's chosen? God, who made them righteous? God who justified them already?
I think you can read it both ways, because we're talking about this. Hey, who's going to be above God? It's God that justifies. Who's going to be against you? It's God that justifies. So even if they do, what does it matter if they're against you? You're in Christ.
Exactly. And we already know what God's call was. It just said it a few verses. It says he also justifies. He makes them righteous. God's the one that justifies. So who else? God's the only one who could do it. And he already said he ain't. So don't listen to your own voice telling you, or the fears of the world, or the fact that you see in your flesh sin. Because guess what? God already knows. That's the previous chapter. Flip back a couple pages. He talks all about it, being like, I know how hard it is. And we get that verse 1. Therefore, there's no condemnation, right? So God's the one. God justifies, not some man, not our own selves. And he's already made us righteous. So he's not going to then come and say oh, well, I know you declared not guilty, but I'm going to come up with these charges against you. We're not supposed to take it that way.